Get everybody rocking here. Yeah, there we go. All right, love it. Love it, love it, love it. We're going to be interactive on this one, so I definitely want to make sure we have the chat. The Q&A, guys, is where we're going to pull questions from. I'm going to ask you guys questions, and you're going to answer them in the chat. That's what the chat's going to be for today. It's going to be for me, selfishly, to get some information from you guys. Just want to say thank you guys for joining us. Start out here. I was looking at it before. There's over 500 people that were registered for this webinar as we're getting going. And what's super duper interesting about that is, I don't think everybody knows this, the first webinar that we did had 38 people registered, 16 attendees, and 2 of those people were mine and Patrick's moms. We're super duper humbled as to where these webinars have ended up. Honestly, it's now become a resource for our entire industry. There's lenders that watch these webinars. There's brokers that watch these webinars. There's people that are helping small businesses that watch these webinars. So really quick, in the chat, I always start the same way: who you are, where you're calling in from, and whether you're a partner or not. Just want to know, hey, are you new to these webinars? Have you been to these webinars in the past? Are you a partner? Are you not? So in the chat, who you are, where you're calling in from, and whether you're a partner or not. Let's see what we got here. Dallas SBDC, shout out to the SBDCs. Anybody from the SBDCs, love all of you guys. We'll be at the conference in a few months down in Atlanta. If you don't know, small business development centers, they're located in every state. There's a ton of different ones depending on the population that will kind of affect how many local SBDCs you have. But they are a free resource to small businesses. So if you aren't working with your local SBDC and you're working with small businesses, trust me, that's a resource you want in your back pocket. I see a lot of people. I saw Vegas. I see Reno again. I see Tennessee, Michigan. A lot of people here. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger because the camera's in the way for myself. So here we go. There we go. There we go. All right, now I can see what we're doing. Love it. I see hard money people out there from Austin, Texas. A lot of hard money going on in Austin. I got a buddy out there that's doing the same thing. So Atlanta, California. One thing that you'll realize, guys, is, and I'm going to show you some really, really cool insights into what we have going on and who our market is inside of the presentation today. But you'll see that we have partners in all 50 states. Shoot, we have partners that are international. So shout out to you guys. Super duper excited to be on with you. Definitely exciting to just provide some updates on what we got going on and what's going on within the industry. We've seen a lot of constricting. What do I mean by that? I've seen banks pull in their requirements. I've seen banks fully pull out of lending to small business. I've seen banks that are not really doing much in terms of this stuff anymore. And then there's other people that are taking advantage of that. There's been new products that have come to market. There's more SBA resources now than ever in terms of the ways to get access to the SBA, whether that's through brokers or lenders. There's more and more resources available today than ever. It's why you have all these AIs popping up and all these different resources, right? How do you see through the noise? That's what today is about. Today is about no noise. What are the facts? Today, we are going to share the facts with you. If we can, let's get the presentation going. I don't want to wait too long. I know we're almost at 100 people on the Zoom here, but I usually like to wait for the century mark. But I know this is a decent sized presentation, so I don't want to make you guys wait. We'll get going. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat or a yes or all good, so that I know that you're seeing the presentation, and we'll get this thing going for sure. As we get going, guys, today's topic, it's all about working capital solutions. Why working capital solutions? Because this has dominated the market recently. I would love to tell you that commercial real estate is at an all-time high, but everything that you hear about commercial real estate that's a sector that's being sucked in. Why? Well, we had this remote work thing that happened a few years ago. I don't know if you guys remember COVID, right? Where everybody had to work from home. What did that do? That created honestly, like a vortex where all of these businesses that had been doing business a traditional way had to figure out a way, how do we go remote inside of days and weeks, right? So they literally boosted their technology and were able to send the people home and get them working from home. Well, that means as you start to come back into the office, are people going to go back? Well, we haven't fully gotten back yet. And that's really affected the markets. That's really affected lending. That's really affected the way that we're able to leverage that asset in terms of lending, right? So sometimes it's going to be about assets. Sometimes it's going to be about cash flow. Other times it's going to be about both. And we really want to make sure that as we're getting going, we keep our eye on what's actually working. I'm going to get this thing going here, and we're going to get rocking and rolling. So who am I? I am Tony Cimino, the VP of Business Development here at ROK Financial. And what is my role? My role here is to assist our partners in working with ROK. Just so you know what that means is it's a lot of lead gen. It's all about the types of businesses we're working with, the types of partnerships that we're looking to onboard, the resources that we provide back to partners. And one of those resources has become this webinar. And I'm so excited to really dive into today's topic with you guys and get things going. Where are we starting? Well, I thought I'd start in the past. Why? Because it's really important that you understand what is it that we're actually doing. Well, we fund small businesses. And what does that mean? That means that we help small businesses gain access to the different types of funding available today. And we've been doing it for years. Right? So this here success story that I'm sharing with you is about a business that we first funded on March 7th of 2011. And this business has taken lending each and every year as a part of their strategy since 2011, right? So what does that mean? That means that we've been a part of this business's growth. We've been able to establish a relationship with our borrower where not only have we been able to be a resource for them, but we've also helped our partner earn commission 13 times so far for making this one referral to ROK. So a little bit about this borrower. When they first started with us, they borrowed $50,000. The second time, $100,000. This most recent time, just last month in April of 2024, they borrowed $400,000. So over the course of the last 13 years, they've borrowed almost $3.2 million. And you can see here that as the business has grown, the financing has been able to grow with them. And that's what's so interesting about the commodity that ROK Financial provides, is capital is always going to be needed in a business. And we utilize our relationships with these businesses to really time the capital so that this is what it looks like for them. They're able to grow their business and take advantage of opportunity and solve the challenges that may come along in the day-to-day of working as a business owner, right? So as we go along here, I'm going to give you a lot of different insights, but one of the most important ones to keep in mind is small businesses are looking for funding and banks are doing less and less of that funding, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, you see the spike that took place with traditional banks back in 2020, and that was due to COVID. That was when the SBA rolled out PPP and all of the banks were literally given free money by the government to give out to small businesses. That was the last time that the banks have actually outpaced their lending versus the demand for the lending that's been there. What do I mean by that? Well, that means that most borrowers that are looking to borrow money right now are either not getting enough money or they're not getting money at all. Most of them, 60% of borrowers are either underfunded or not getting the access to the money at all. Well, where are they then turning? What are the options? How can they leverage this stuff? Well, the real crazy statistic to me in 2024 is 9 out of 10 business owners think if their bank can't help them get access to funding, then that's really the end of the road, right? So that's not the case. It's 2024. We're in the future. We are where we have automated cars and you can make coffee with the press of a button, and all of these crazy, crazy things with chat GPTs and all of these AIs that are rolling around. You can see, robots doing backflips if you want, depending on what your YouTube looks like, right? What does that mean for lending? Well, that has completely changed everything. When you start to talk about all of the different types of funding and all of the different types of scenarios that could be lent to, well, this is where technology has really helped the financial services sector. We have more products and more resources available today to small businesses than ever before. The problem is they're all a secret. The problem is there's only 100 somewhat people on this call, 112, 113 people on this call. This industry is new. It's at its infancy. People don't even know that you can borrow money this way. And that's the craziest part to me. The craziest part to me is really, really understanding that there's all these people out there that are running businesses. Most of them are needing money at the moment, but they either can't get it, can't get enough of it, or don't know where to look for it. So what do we do? Well, we take a look at what we are able to do. So that's what I'm sharing here with you, is our core borrower. Who is the person that borrows money from ROK Financial when you look at all the averages? Well, I think the most important thing, rather than looking at something like their credit score or maybe where the business is located or even their industry, is actually what are they doing with the money? Most of these businesses are purchasing equipment, they're doing marketing or hiring or purchasing inventory at a discount, or they're using it as a bridge from one project to the next, where they're able to take advantage of borrowing money at a premium. What do I mean by a premium? I mean that, hey, if I borrow X, it's going to cost me Y, but I'll make Z. And all that this is really about is Z more than Y. And what do I mean by that is, hey, is the business going to make more money than it costs them, right? And cost is an interesting thing, because one of the things that people tend to neglect is the cost of doing nothing. There is an extreme cost as a business owner to not doing anything. If it's purchasing new equipment, how much longer can you go with the old piece of equipment that you have? Is it outdated? Has it become obsolete? Is it one of those things where, hey, if I don't purchase this piece of equipment, all my competitors are going to move ahead of me, right? Or is it one of those things where, hey, I can just wait till it breaks and then buy that piece of equipment? But if you wait till it breaks, now your business is not going anywhere because you have to go buy that piece of equipment. And in the meantime, you're trying to find the financing to do so. So how do you balance all of this if you're a business owner? You don't. You can't. It's impossible. I promise. There's thousands of lenders out there. We have almost 100 of them on our platform, and it's impossible to keep up with all the changes. You have to really just take a look at the snapshot of what you have going on and understanding, hey, what are my options and how can I look at that, right? So some other things that I want to point out is that our typical borrower is an existing business. They're making $1 million+ a year in sales. They've been in business for 2+ years. Now, you may say to yourself, well, hey, that sounds like somebody that can go to the bank. I have statistics that are going to show you the bank is not funding those customers. But even if they could go to the bank, most of these people are getting declined. They're either declined for their industry, they're declined for their credit score, they have a loan at their bank. A lot of people are tapped out at the bank. Some people have the bank calling their note. Right? There's so much shift going on inside of some of these industries. If you're a transportation company and you have a line of credit at your bank, kudos to you. But I bet you they're either calling that or limiting how much you can pull on it, or have kind of shrunk that line on you. And it's the same thing if you're in food and beverage. It's the same thing if you're in e-commerce. These are industries that banks aren't familiar with. So when they're not familiar, they instantly start to restrict. So now that we understand who are we able to help, now it's about where are they? Where do we actually find these borrowers? And you know what's super interesting is they're in your backyard. I promise you, when I show you these next couple slides here, you're going to go, these are literally the same thing, right? So what are you looking at here? You are looking at a population map of the US. These states that are shaded in here are where you see more people. And what do people bring? People bring business, people bring commerce, people spend money, right? And let's face it, that's how the economy works, right? We are a capitalistic society. We want people spending money because that fuels the growth of everything around. It goes into the food, it goes into the transportation, it goes into public works, and all of that stuff is spurred by local economy, right? So what really happens is when you look at our funded customers, they're all over the map exactly where I just showed you, right? They're located in all of the areas that you would expect. If you take a look at the top cities in your states, those are the top cities where we lend money. Those are the top cities where we have auto repair customers and transportation businesses and construction businesses and, you know, all these medical and healthcare related businesses or retail and e-commerce businesses. You know, there's so many different types of businesses. They're located everywhere. This is just a plot of last year's funded businesses, right? So I had shout out to Rob, who's our CTO. He was able to plot all of these different businesses on the map for us and get us a screenshot of, hey, this is where business was funded last year. Even more interesting, though, is when we look at the people that are referring the business. I told you they're all over the map. They're in all different countries and states, and guess where they are? They're in all the states and countries exactly where we're funding the business. This is the grassroots. This is as basic as it gets. We help auto repair shops put in a new lift. We help doctors update their offices. We help you buy out competitors. We help you leverage opportunity, simply put, right? So now that we understand, hey, this is where we're at, right? How do we do it? Well, where are we marketing? I'm going to tell you that too. We market on social media. We use paid ads and SEO, and there's email marketing that goes out. Shoot, email marketing is probably how a lot of you heard of this webinar. Shout out to Jen. You know, that's what makes the world go round, guys, is these touch points, right? And then obviously my favorite way to market is through referral programs, right? How can you leverage somebody else's network? Is there some sort of strategic alignment that you can make? Right. So it's really, really interesting when you start to put together a mixture of some of these approaches and then even target some of our core industries. Right. So we talked about the core borrower before, but that borrower persona fits into each of these industries. So whether you're talking construction, like general contractors, or specialized like plumbers and roofers and people that do like electricians, there's all these different custom cabinetry and different trades like inside of the construction vertical. Same thing with transportation. If you're long haul or short haul trucking, are you a towing company? Are you a coach bus company? I remember one of the first deals I ever did was we were able to help somebody buy 2 new coach buses for their business, right? Healthcare, that encompasses the medical industry as well. So you could be talking about spas and gyms and, and different places like that. Or you could be talking about doctors and dentists and veterinarians and chiropractors. These are all the types of businesses that we service. Restaurants encompasses whether you're talking about, to-go places, franchises, or your local pizza place, your local pizzeria or Chinese food spot, all of these different businesses. Retail encompasses e-commerce and all the different types of ways for you to buy. We help every type of grassroots business. What you should look for is, like I said, that borrower that I was kind of telling you about before. And I see Jackie in the chat here helping us out. What if their credit score isn't 720? Can you believe that Jackie's on right now? What is Jackie doing? Shout out to Jackie, everybody. Jackie just gave birth yesterday to her son, James, and she's in the chat answering questions. Shout out to Jackie. But Jerry asked, and then Jackie answered, what do I do if their credit score doesn't meet that 720? The beauty of our programs is there's actually no minimum credit score, right? So credit score is certainly going to affect your rate and term. I'm not going to say that. But whether you get approved or declined is not going to be based on your credit score. The way that you get approved or declined is based on affordability. Can you actually afford what you're asking to borrow? And that's what's interesting about some of these programs is we are outside of the bank, right? So why is it that our core borrower has a 700 or 720 plus credit score? It's because those are the people that actually know how to leverage borrowing money, right? And are able to do so and explain that, hey, I'm going to do this with the money and I'm going to utilize it and I'm going to grow my business. And that's why you see such a high credit score. I love that everybody's shouting out Jackie. That's awesome. Why are we here? It's to talk about these top working capital products. What are the ones that people are leveraging right now? That's term loans, merchant cash advances, and lines of credit. And this is where the bulk of our conversation is going to focus over the next 10 or 15 minutes. And then hopefully a lot of the questions, right? What's so unique about these products is none of them are tied to any assets. So let me say that again. None of them are tied to any assets. When you are a small business owner, 11 times out of 10, when you go to the bank, the first thing that they're going to ask is, what do you own? And that could be personally or professionally. But they want to know, do you own your house? Do you own a car? Do you own equipment in the business? Does the business own real estate, right? What does the business own? Does the business own receivables, right? Do people owe the business money, right? All of these things are defined as assets. And what banks like to do is they like to guarantee them giving you money by tying that money to an asset. So what's interesting about these three products that we're going to highlight going forward is they don't do that. They don't do that. They're not tied to any of those assets. So what does that mean? It means two things. Number one, you get flexibility. So if you have to leverage those in the future, you can still go to the bank and do that, or go to another lender and leverage those assets, even if you have a line of credit or a cash advance or a term loan, right? That's number one. Number two is a lot of times you can leverage these more quickly. These are shorter term solutions. If you're somebody that's looking at a line of credit, you should need the money from like 30 to 90 days, right? If you have the ability to flip the money, as they say, right, in 30 to 90 days, then the line of credit is for you, right? So let's get a little bit more specific here. Let's go into these products. Talking about term loans specifically, this is like a bank style product. And what do I mean by a bank style product? Well, this one is going to look at your credit score. This one definitely wants to see 660, 665, maybe even 680 plus. And then you have even programs that, inside of it will tier up. And what I mean by that is like your rates and terms will get better if you have better requirements, right? So I know it says minimum requirements of 660, 2 years in business and 10K a month. Right. But you could imagine if the business has been around for 15 years, makes $150,000 a month, and the owner has an 800 credit score, they wouldn't get the same rates and terms as somebody who just met the minimum qualifications. Right. So that's how these things work, is the better you meet the requirements, the better terms you're going to get. Right. But what you can bank on, for lack of a better term, is that this money is being lent. This money is here to be given out to you as a business owner, as long as you have a clear understanding of what you're doing with the money, right? So how do you educate somebody that's looking to borrow this? Well, you make sure that they meet these minimums, right? You make sure that when they're getting ready to apply, they're able to get business bank statements. They're able to get access to a tax return and financials, right? These things don't necessarily need to be audited, but you definitely need to make sure that as a business owner, if you're going to go look at a line of credit, which is a traditional style product, that you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's when it comes to the finances inside of the business. You don't necessarily need to be claiming a crazy profit on these things. Again, it's more about how much money you're going to get access to is based on how much money can you actually afford inside of the business, right? So just keeping it going. When we're talking more about the MCA product or a cash advance, right? This one, much less time in business, no minimum FICO score. And what's even crazier about this product is This one will lend amounts as little as $5,000 and go as high as $5 million, right? So this is a flexible product. This is one of the ones that, if leveraged the right way, could be the best product on the platform for your customers, to be honest. What's needed here is just simply an application, those bank statements. And if we're going to go over 150K, we're definitely going to need last year's tax return, right? This is simple, easy, quick access to funding with flexible terms to meet the business's needs, right? So if you're somebody that, hey, I was just declined at the bank, I have this opportunity, I gotta go, this is the product for you. If you are somebody that you're looking for a little bit more give and take, as they would call it. What do I mean by that? Well, a line of credit works just like a credit card. Right. So if you get a $100,000 line of credit and you put a $20,000 draw on that line, you still have a balance of $80,000. But what's really great about a line of credit is if you pay back that amount, right, you pay back the principal plus some interest, you can then get access to those funds again. Right. So if you're making payments on that, you're going to get access to having upwards of $100,000 each and every time you need it. Right. And that's what's so interesting about a line of credit, and why I said before you really want to be able to pay it back quickly, is because you want to be able to leverage the funding again. But the other thing about a line of credit, nobody seems to talk about this. This is the most requested product on the platform. And I think it's just a sexy name. Everybody's familiar with maybe the HELOC or the home equity line of credit. So when you start thinking business funding and somebody talks line of credit, it just sounds the same and the similarities. What's really, really interesting about this product is it's expensive. It's very expensive, especially if you hold it for longer than it's intended. The way that these lines are set up is to get you to pay more on them. What do I mean by that? Is it works just like a credit card. If you take your credit card and you go swipe $2,000 on your credit card right now, and you make minimum payments, it's going to take you forever to pay off the credit card, and you're going to pay a ton of interest. So that's how they set these lines of credit up. Whether it's 6, 12, 18, or 24 months on your line, they're going to have your amortization schedule based on that number. And what that means is, hey, if you make those minimum payments, you're going to pay the most amount of interest, right? So that's why I always say, if you're somebody that could utilize a line of credit, you're probably somebody with the ability to pay it back in the next 30 to 90 or 120 days. Because that's going to mean that you're only paying interest for 2, 3, 4 months at a time, right? These monthly interest rates can add up when you allow them to accrue, month over month. 3% a month doesn't sound so bad until it's 36% annually, or 72% when you look at it over 2 years, right? So definitely keep in mind how you can utilize the funding versus how you can pay it back most efficiently, so that's not going to cost you the most amount of money, right? So what about us? How can we help? What are you doing here? Well, the beauty of this is it's easy. You can start funding businesses with ROK today. I know of lenders on the left coast, right out there in California, that will be funding till 8:30 p.m. tonight. So if you had a business right now that you wanted to get underwritten and funded, technically you could do so today. Give me till tomorrow, but you could do it today. The second thing is you can monetize on your network, right? So if you're somebody that's already in lending, you might have a bunch of relationships, or you're in banking, you might have a bunch of relationships. But one thing that's interesting about all of these products is you can leverage us for any of them, or just one, or two, or three. It doesn't really matter. Whatever fits your needs, right? Whatever fits the needs of your network, leverage us for that. Utilize all of the resources, all of the marketing, all of the tech, and allow us to help you monetize on your network. And the best part is you're going to retain your small business customers, right? The days of being able to just call your customer and say, oh, how's the weather out there? Sounds great. Oh, you going with the same order again? That doesn't... There's no more order taking in sales, right? Like if you're somebody that's selling to small business owners, I don't care if you're a CPA, a consultant, a banker, a broker like us, it does not matter. It's not about what you bring to the table. It's about what else can you bring to the table, right? It's about the resources that you're able to provide to the small businesses that you're working with. Well, by aligning with ROK, this is a powerful resource. Not only do you get access to ROK, but I'll jump on and do a webinar with you if you need. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to keep your attention here. I do see we got some questions going in the chat. One thing I want you to know is this is being recorded. You will get access to this dynamite recording, the even better presentation, all within just a blink of an eye after we get a chance to edit it and make sure that it's all good. But you'll definitely get access to it. I promise, I promise, I promise. Watch it on repeat on YouTube so that we get a lot of views and I can spread the word. No, this is really not about us, guys. It's about you. It's about the networks that you guys have and being able to leverage what we've built. 15 years ago, we built a organization that was able to fund small businesses. And for 10 years, we focused specifically on that. But for the last 5, we've opened it up. We've completely shifted the way that we do business. And it's not that we don't focus on the small business borrower, but we do that through your lens. We let you utilize all the resources that we've built and the relationships that we have to really get the money in the hands of the people who need it. What are we doing? We're building strong partnerships. I want you to remember that first slide that we were looking at before, where you saw the growth of that business over the last 13 years. How many small businesses do you know in your network that you could potentially take a referral and make that referral to ROK, help them grow their business over the last 13 years, and also make commission along the way? Right? 13 separate times, right? And that commission grows as the funded amount grows, just so you know. Leveraging our expertise and resources, right? When you talk about tech, or you talk about marketing, or you talk about even personalized support from the team themselves, right? You get access to a full funding team of a processor, a business development officer, a funding advisor, all on your team to help you fund deals, right? And then again, it's really about being able to take a look at it all, right? And analytics is probably one of the biggest words here in 2024, right? Everybody's talking about the data and making data-driven decisions and letting the numbers tell us what to do, right? We've been doing that for years. The difference is you see it now. You can log into our portal and really, really leverage all of the data points, all of the touch points, and be able to utilize it as essentially a CRM for yourself when it comes to having a pipeline of small businesses that are looking for funding, and then being able to track all of it, all your commissions, all in one place, and know that your customers are dealing with a first-class organization. That's the cherry on top. Right. So let's take a look at some quick fundings here. You have a few different styles, right? A few different funded amounts, people doing different stuff with the money, right? But what you should understand about these is these are real small businesses. These are people that are going to hire employees. They're going to spend money in their local economies. Shoot, they're sponsoring local sports teams, and they're sponsoring different events at their schools, right? Like, these borrowers are real people. They have families, they feed families, so I know it might get lost on you here when you see, $850K or 300,000. It's not always about the funding amount or the commission. It's really about the impact on the back end. Most of these businesses are able to take these numbers that they're borrowing and add a 0 to the end, right? A lot of times they're able to 10 times what they're doing, or they're making $2 for every dollar that they borrow, or $3 for every dollar that they borrow. And understanding those economics of the business, that outweighs the cost of the capital every single time. We were talking a little bit about cost earlier in the presentation there, right? So don't believe me, take a look online. 980 some odd Trustpilot reviews. If we do the right thing, we'll be to 1,000 before the end of the week. 980 plus Trustpilot reviews, 5.0 stars on Google, best companies top rated commercial finance broker for the last 2 or 3 years, Jen. I don't remember, at least 2 or 3 years. And it's not about us. It's about the experience that our partners and customers have with us, right? So take a look here for yourselves. You can literally go online and just Google ROK Financial Reviews. I know you're going to see nothing but exactly what happens. And that's us putting our best foot forward in helping small businesses gain access to funding. And fun little exercise. If you're actually going to do that and you really want to go look us up, do the same thing with Chase. Tell me what their Google rating is, or Wells Fargo. Go look up Wells Fargo and you tell me they probably don't even have as many Google reviews, number one, and it's certainly not over a 4. And why is that? Money makes people act funny. It's not easy to sell expensive capital and people be okay with it at the end. Why are we different? Because we're honest. I don't necessarily need to give you money right now if you can't afford it. You know, there's enough people out there that can do it and will try to shove it down your throat. We take a completely different approach. In fact, that's what this slide is about. This slide is about you. This slide is about asking our team, hey, you know, Nick, you've been at the top of the leaderboard the last few months. What are your referral partners doing? What is it about them that makes it easy for you to do business? Well, they're communicative, right? They're able to tell us about the businesses that they work with, or what they know or don't know about the businesses that they're working with, right? And they keep that open line of communication. Or, you know, it's really just about all of these different things, right? Whether you're providing clear and detailed information about your leads, you have clear communication, you have a relationship with the borrowers, right? You're aligned in the same goal that we have. It's really just about making sure that from front to back, your customers have a seamless approach to getting the capital that they need, right? And one of my favorite analogies to use when working with referral partners is think of it like a relay race. How well we're able to hand that baton off amongst each other or pass that referral over is going to say a lot about what we're able to do on the back end when it comes to actually getting this business funded, right? So working together amongst each other is going to provide the best partnership. And kudos to our partners and these guys with some feedback for them, you know, that have really elevated the way that we're able to do business and who we're able to do business with. Quick little stat here. This was interesting. Over 40% of small businesses chose online lenders and finance companies versus traditional banks and lenders. So what do I mean by traditional banks and lenders? I'm talking about your Chases, your Wells Fargos, maybe Citi, the big banks, right? The local and regional banks that are out there, the CDFIs and credit unions. That's who I mean when I'm talking about traditional lending, right? You'd think they'd eat up more than 60% of the borrowers. At least I would think so. No, they're not. More and more borrowers every year. This statistic was up from just over 32% to just over 40% in 2021. How do you take advantage of it, right? Well, you work with ROK. That makes it easy, right? You partner with us. We'll get you access to all of the marketing, all of the support, all of the sales that you could need. You can call us now. You can send an email. You can email me. You could call me. I can't answer you for a little bit, but you can definitely call me. You can go over to the website, rok.biz. It's actually new. So if you haven't checked it out recently, check out the new design to the website. Shout out to the web team because it looks awesome. And if you're ready to get rocking, you can partner with us right now. I got this cool feature here that we've started to use, and I love it. This is my favorite part of the whole presentation, is the QR code. You can scan this on your screen right now, be able to go in and ask your questions to one of the professionals here. I'm going to go in here in just a couple of seconds, start picking through the Q&A. I know I missed some questions in the chat. There's a lot of them in the chat. So if you can, please put your questions in the Q&A, and I promise I'm going to get those answered. But if you're somebody that you can't wait, you heard enough, Tony got you sold, click this, pull out your phone, utilize this QR code here, and trust me, Marilyn will be excited to transfer your call and get you on the phone with one of our partner advisors. I am just about ready to jump into that Q&A. But before I do, make sure that you keep a lookout for our June webinar. Do we have a date yet? Is ROK considered a bank or a lending institution, or is there government regulations? How does all that work? Shout out to Delroy for starting out with a curveball that I could have easily got in front of, but I'm going to knock this one out of the park. ROK is a broker, right? So what does that mean? That means we work with banks, lenders, and funders, and we offer their products as an extension of our own. Are we regulated? Yes and no. So commercial finance is not the same as personal finance. I'm going to say that again. Commercial finance is not the same as personal finance. So the laws that you might be, familiar with when it comes to like the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, or some of the things that might have affected the way that you lend money to an individual, don't pertain to the same type of stuff on the business side. So that's one thing that is super interesting, is it's really been left in the state's hands in terms of regulation. Now, I can tell you that a lot of states have put regulation forth. Some of them have passed this regulation. For a long time now, you've needed a broker license to be able to facilitate these types of deals in California. We've always had our California broker license. There's other states, though, that have put forth regulation that we have to stay compliant with, states like Utah, New York, Virginia, Georgia. There's definitely some regulation out there. There's even more on the horizon. What's interesting about the regulation thing, though, is James Webster, our founder and executive chairman, he sits as the chairman to the SBFA's broker council, right? So the Small Business and Finance Administration is basically in Congress and in DC talking about regulation with all of the people that you would do that with. And James, who founded ROK Financial, is at the forefront of these conversations. In fact, every representative that sells these loans here at ROK Financial is SBFA certified to do so. So that's what's interesting about working with ROK, is you have a company that's at the forefront of all of this stuff. Do we provide startup financing? And if so, how does it work? We do not provide startup financing, specifically finance existing businesses, need at least 4 months time in business to be able to borrow money from ROK Financial. I signed up as a partner. How do I start submitting deals? My favorite question. Send smoke signals. No, it's really up to you. Some partners like to be involved. Some like to get their customers to kind of self-service their way through. What I would say, this question was from Kyle. Jen, can we have maybe Kyle's BDO reach out to him and just discuss the different ways that he might be able to submit deals? Because you could put them in the portal yourself, Kyle. You could utilize a link and send that link out to your customers. You can even white label that and send them a link with your logo and stuff on it. So definitely want to get you rocking and rolling, as we say, with all the bells and whistles. So Jen's going to have your BDO reach out to you, Kyle. Appreciate the question, and definitely look forward to doing some business. How do I introduce ROK and my company when it comes to explaining our relationship to a potential prospect? What a great question. Shout out to Wilfred on this question. What this is all about, Wilfred, is honestly your relationships with that borrower. Some people who are great marketers don't even put their company in or explain that there's anything like that. They just market our products and services and allow the borrowers to engage through that landing page that I was just talking about. Other people will use terms like, hey, I offer commercial finance and I'm partnered with ROK Financial. Some companies leverage it and say that their financing is powered by ROK Financial. Others leverage it and just say, hey, I'm the company. Your partner, you're getting the financing from me, and we keep it on more of like a white label type of relationship. So it's really up to you, the types of relationships you have with your borrowers, and really looking to understand more about how you're coming across those borrowers and the relationship that you have. Do you have banks that are set up as referral partners? Absolutely. We have a few different banks that use us on like a turn down relationship style, where if you're declined at the bank, we're kind of that second look channel for those types of opportunities. There is definitely availability for us to help set up additional banks, whether you're like a small local bank or a regional bank, or, give me a partnership with Chase. I'll take it. Fun fact, our lenders have had a partnership with Chase for years. So do all 3 loan products that you mentioned require business tax returns? Great question from Sylvia. Sylvia, when it comes to business tax returns, it may or may not be required, depending usually on dollar amount, right? So if you're over $100,000 or $150,000, a lot of times that's going to be a requirement regardless of the product. However, if somebody hasn't filed taxes yet or is on extension or whatever the scenario might be, as long as there's a story that we could tell to the underwriter there that makes sense, we could show them a paper trail. There's really no scenario that we can't get around. We have borrowers that will utilize some of this money to even pay off potential tax liens that they've had from taxes that they've owed in the past. What do you get paid? So the beauty of working with ROK Financial is every deal that you refer to us, you're going to get paid the same thing. Right. So whether that's a brand new deal and you get it funded for the first time, or like you saw earlier in the presentation, it's the 13th time that we funded that deal, you're going to earn commission the same way, front and back across the board. All of our standard referral partnerships start at like a 10 to a 20% revenue share. And that's based on the volume that you are providing. However, there are some partners on the platform that earn upwards of 30, maybe even 40% revenue share front and back based on the fact that they are driving good volume. They're a little bit more hands-on in the process. Maybe they're working to sell the product. It really depends on the scenario. Industry standard, 10%, 15, 20%, on most partnerships though. Appreciate the questions. Do you work with real estate investors, fix and flip, DSCR? We can work with real estate investors. We can do some fix and flip. We can definitely utilize real estate to get you funding. We can help you invest in real estate. The biggest thing there, if I'm being honest, is it's going to be based on the property. It's going to be based on the opportunity, and it's going to be based on the experience of the borrower. If somebody has never done this before, and they're looking to do their first flip or invest in their first property, we're probably not the best solution for that. However, if they've done this a couple times, in the fix and flip world, if you've done this for the last 2 years and you've done 2 flips, call it 2 and 2 or 3 and 3. Then we can certainly help you get access to that type of funding for that type of project. They have what's called a HUD-1 statement that they give out when looking at things. John said, why not 50% partnerships offer 50%? I'm not asking about broker commission. I'm asking about true partnership. So Joe, excuse me, not John. Hell of a name to join with, Joe Blow, and then fire out questions. To be honest, man, we're very familiar with the economics of our business. There's a lot of people that will tell you they'll pay you 50% of something and then don't really tell you what that 50% is on the back end. Everything that we do is above board. We'll pay you on bonuses that our lenders pay us. We'll pay you on all the fees and everything that's associated with anything that's borrowed through us. So we're very above board on how we do business. If 5 or 10% is going to make or break a partnership, we've never let that happen. However, we've also never let somebody walk all over us when it comes to earning commission, because we know the value of what we bring to the partnership. We're bringing all the lenders, all the technology, all the resources, all of the underwriting, and the name and brand that we bring to the partnership. So we're not going to waver past where we feel comfortable. There are some major brokers that utilize us. There are some major partnerships that we have that generate thousands of opportunities a month for us. And yeah, they get 30, 35, 40%, and sometimes in a bonus, they'll get that 50-50. But we're, again, well aware of how we are, our business and the economics of our business. And that's exactly how we pay. So if I partner with you, I'm essentially a broker or ISO representative, not an ISO partner. No, we don't have ISO partners. We are the ISO. So I just want to take that out of the air now. We're a broker, right? We don't co-broker. We're not trying to super broker. No, I would rather not work with brokers, if I'm being honest. My core referral partner is a banker, attorney, CPA, bookkeeper, potentially a business consultant, maybe an SBA broker. But if you're somebody that it's got to be about the dollars, I would tell you, trust me, we're not the partnership for you, because I know that you're worried about what we're going to make on the first deal, and I'm worried what we're going to make in the next 10 years. So that's just totally different when it comes to the approach that we take. Again, we pay bonuses, we pay incentives. I know we just ran an incentive, 2 months ago, girls, or last month, where we paid a bonus of 10%, right? So if you were a 40% partner, you got paid 50% for all the deals you funded last month. So if you're an ISO, you can certainly utilize us for some of the stuff that's on our platform. The other way that if you're trying to work with us, you can join our team. I know I didn't go too much into this, but you can work on our remote sales platform. You can sell the deals then and, rock out with ROK. You can be able to utilize all these products. And, I know some people were asking about leads before, and some people were asking about, their pipeline and stuff like that. That's more of that style opportunity, where it's a little bit more, hey, you're actually going to join our sales team. Right. And be able to get access to our trainings, get access to real-time data. And that's a little bit more in that realm. But outside of that, it's more of like a referral partnership than like a true ISO partner. Appreciate the questions, guys, for sure. I think we had a couple more come into the Q&A while we were chatting it up there. So please keep dumping them in. I'll keep knocking them out. I lost my mouse, so I can't see where I'm at. There we go. I'm back. Great question from Lamel. Are there bilingual marketing materials to be able to utilize or landing pages or things like that? Absolutely, we can get you bilingual marketing material. Please reach out to us, whether you want it on a specific product or for a specific industry, or you just need generalized stuff. Please get in contact with your BDO, because I promise you we can get you access to some of that stuff. We even have bilingual reps on the team. So like if you're somebody that, hey, I don't speak Spanish, but I'm generating these Spanish speaking leads, well, you can send them over to us and we can help you monetize them. I had a lead that wanted to buy land for his existing business. Cost was $150K. He wanted to know how much the payment rate and term would be. It's a rental business. That's where this thing kind of gets tough, right? Because I could give you numbers here and generalize it and kind of just throw that at you. But it's really not all that easy. When it comes to a real estate deal, the location, right? Anything they teach you about real estate, it's about three things: location. But number two, it's going to be about that borrower and what are the experience there. So to be honest, I really couldn't give you rates and terms and dollar amounts. I've seen people borrow $150K over 2 years, and those rates and terms look a lot different than somebody that borrows $150K over 25. So it's really definitely going to be based on more of that, like what they're looking to, like how they're looking to leverage that capital. Excuse me. Yes, we pay on commission if somebody borrows again. What's the difference between responsibilities and payment split when joining the team versus being a partner? If you're joining the team, we expect you to be a sales rep. So we want you to be attending trainings and our daily sales huddles. If you're going to get access to leads from us, it's going to be based on the fact that you're actually interacting with those leads and looking to fund those things. So there's the expectation of being a sales rep versus a referral partner. The expectation is there is none. If I'm being honest, I don't care if you fund 100 deals a month as a partner or 1 deal a year. It really does not matter to me. I promise you, I love all referral partners equal. It all means so much to me. Like I can't even explain to you the value that I see in a one-off partnership or the partner that funds 100 deals a month. Like it's the same thing if I'm being honest. As far as being a referral partner, there really is no expectation. It's really up to how do you utilize us. Do we do equity deals? We do not do equity deals. We simply provide debt financing solutions. On the ROK.biz site, on your ROK.biz site, does ROK have a link for your referral partner program? Absolutely. Right at the top. I believe there's a partner section right at the top. I don't know if it says become a partner or partner with us, something like that. It's got a little tagline. I think we might have even made the button a specific color. I don't remember exactly. Again, new website, dude. Cut me some slack. Cut me some slack. If a business has been in business for 4 to 6 months, what other credentials qualify them besides bank statements? Well, they're definitely going to have to provide those bank statements, Sylvia, because those last 4 to 6 months of bank statements are going to give us the most bird's eye view on what's happening right now inside of the business. So even if they've only been around for 4 to 6 months, we're still going to want to see those 4 to 6 months of bank statements. And they have to be business bank statements because that's where the lender is going to put the money. So it's got to be business bank statements. Typically, there really isn't much outside of that. If you're buying a piece of equipment, we might require like an invoice or quote for the equipment. If you're buying property, we would need obviously information on the property that you're buying. But again, it's really going to come more down to cash flow than anything, and that's what those bank statements kind of tell us. If you've only been around 4 to 6 months, you're not going to have that type of documentation in your business just yet. All right, just trying to make sure I get to. Do we work with construction contractors? Yes, construction, contracting, top industry for us. Absolutely. Can we fund UCC clients easily? I mean, that's a trick question, Jackie. You know that. Easily, it depends on how many UCCs they have. Listen, if somebody has UCC filed on an asset or all of their assets because they have an SBA loan or a bank line or they have a accounts receivable financing out, we can subordinate to those types of products. And it is pretty easy, fairly easy, Jackie, with the easily comment. You're killing me with that. It's never easy. No, it is fairly easy to do so. Our lenders will subordinate to those types of things. It's just important that we know it on the upfront. We can't go to our lenders and say, hey, can you give this person a first position deal when technically there's 2 other loans in place already. I saw there was a follow-up on the one I just answered. Sylvia said, I actually mean, are there any other docs that are required in addition to the bank statements? Sorry about that. So you definitely need the application, the bank statements, and potentially a tax return, maybe financials. Again, it depends on what they would have at that point. If the business has only been around 4 to 6 months, they might not have a tax return from last year just yet. So again, it would just be those bank statements to get started. They may require like a business license or, certain other stipulations for funding, but to get started in an initial approval, it's definitely just the bank statements in the application. Do you offer gap funding, second line position loans, and can we work with foreign nationals? So as long as the business is located here, they have a U.S. business checking account, then yes, we can work with foreign nationals. And yes, a lot of the funding that we do is like that gap funding or in the second position. So definitely utilize us for some of that stuff, John. I got to be honest, if you have other resources in place for some of this stuff, definitely make sure that you're understanding what makes us different from some of your traditional lenders and people that you're using for this stuff. Because you might find that, hey, we might be able to, fit a specific niche. I love that the questions that are being asked are so direct and they're really, I don't want to call them in the weeds, but they're really about the products and the services. So I love it. Yes, we do invoice factoring, purchase order financing. We'll do asset-backed lines of credit. We'll do every different type of SBA deal. A lot of different products out there. One question says, if they average $10,000 a month, will they qualify for 10K? How is that figured? Yeah, honestly, it's usually about that. If you're making 10,000 a month, you might get, 7,500 to 10,000, maybe 12,500. Typically the first time you borrow money, you're looking at anywhere between like 75 and 100% of how much you're making monthly. However, the caveat there is, can you afford more money? Right? So if you are somebody that keeps a decent amount of money on hand, and you are somebody that, maybe you make $20,000, $30,000 in the business a month, but you keep $10,000 a day in the bank, you can afford a lot more of a payment than somebody that keeps $300 a day in the bank. Right. And that's what they're going to look at. They're going to look at your average daily balance. How many times are you going negative? And they're going to base that. They're going to give you a payment that's based on that number. They have what's called their threshold for percentage of gross. And what that means is the amount of gross revenue that the business makes, there will be a threshold that the lender is allowed to basically allocate towards a payment. Right. So if somebody makes $100,000 a month, and their threshold is 18%, well, then in a month, their payments can't outweigh $18,000. Now, $18,000 in payments might sound like a lot, but if the loan amount is $2 million, we might not necessarily get there. So again, all of this stuff, guys, is in the weeds, like I was just saying. The best part about our system, our partnership, and leveraging the system, the team, and everybody that's involved is that we can have these conversations all day. I know you guys can continue to fire questions. I can continue to answer them. And that's the beauty of this business. We're in it. And we use the numbers to give you guys back the information so that you can go ahead and share that with the borrowers that you're coming across. I see we have a couple more here in the Q&A. I'm probably going to utilize that to kind of get things wrapped up, as I see we have some duplicate questions that have been asked. Again, anybody who registered for this will get access to the presentation and a recording of today's webinar. And again, if you are somebody that is looking to partner with ROK, please reach out to us. If you are somebody that is looking to work with us and want to be a part of that remote sales platform, please reach out to us. And if you are a partner, shout out to you. I appreciate you guys for joining. I appreciate you guys for learning. I appreciate you guys for trusting us to fund the businesses that you refer to us. I just want to say before we get wrapped up, this was awesome. You guys were great in the chat the entire time this thing was popping. And that's what it's all about. Honestly, the third Thursday of the month is always the fastest afternoon of the month. That's for sure. Thank you guys for joining. Let's see. Can we get one more question in? Anybody? Can a line of credit be used to buy a business that's cash flowing? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can definitely use a line of credit to buy a business. Great question. Shout out to Kyle on that one. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for all of the engagement. Thank you guys for all of your trust, and shout out to, I see a lot of familiar names on here right now. I see a lot of familiar names. Tom Washington, Tom Reed, Richard Peralta, a lot of familiar names. So shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for being rock stars. And again, June 20th, Jen said. June 20th, we'll be back again for next month's webinar. And we're going to be doing a deep dive on even further into some of these products and services that we offer. Thank you so much. And we'll check you guys next month. Thanks, everybody.